Today we're going to show you guys how to take apart a secondary from a Polaris. The one that we're going to do at this minute is called the roller design, the HD design, EBS, all the same clutch. There's only two styles Polaris uses. One is a rapid reaction and one is the HD or roller design. It's obvious this one's got an external roller, this does not. Depending on what year model, everything, which one of these yours has. So every year model does not have the same clutch. This one has a removable helix. First thing we're going to do is mark it. Okay. So when we put it back together, we can get everything in line. All right. So there's actually some X's on here, an X here, an X here. But what I'm going to do, just easy, is put a black mark on that half, this half, here, here, and this shaft, okay? So that we get everything back in line. Alright, when we're putting it back together. Alright, I already had one screw out. Take the other four out, and we're going to turn the helix out. All you're doing is changing the helix. You take your new one and put it back in. Alright, depending on what you're doing here, if you just want to do some inspecting, here's your internal rollers. This is a brand new clutch that I'm installing and testing on a Razor 800 for more going from the rapid reaction to the roller style altogether better. There's a tech article on it you can read. So you can check your rollers, make sure they're intact. So to get it apart from here, we got to go get on our little press. Okay, here we are out at our press as of today's date, whatever today is, February 5th, 2013. I don't have this press on the website. I do have the EPI spring compressor. It will not work on the roller style simply because this isn't deep enough. So you're going to need this one or another method to get it to where you can take it off. So don't get confused. Alright, so I've put this portion in our vise. Slip this down over the top where I can see my snap ring. Put the handle on it. Alright, then I'm going to start compressing. It didn't take much, it'll bottom out. Take a pair of snap ring pliers and remove the snap ring. Okay, can be kind of a booger to get it all the way up. It's just a hard spot. And then simply start taking the pressure off your spring. If all you were doing at this point is changing a spring for like a clutch kit or something, then I'm actually going to put it back together in another portion of this video, but I want to completely take this thing apart. But if all you were doing would be take your spring out, put your new one in, put this back on, reverse the process. Okay, now if you want to take it completely apart because maybe you need to change these rollers for whatever, maybe they're wore out and you want to change them. The way that you got to do it is there's some pins in here. Now the method I'm using, as I always say, may not be the best way. I don't always have the perfect tools, just like you probably won't. But there's some pins in here that if you had a punch, the proper size punch, you'd punch them out. Well, I do not have the proper punch, so I made something out of a wore out T-handle hex head. So I put it in here and drive the drift pin out. Alright, I heard it come out. Make sure you keep up with where that goes. Alright, here's my little pin. Set it over the side. And then make sure you pay attention to orientation. This one's flat side down on the end of this button. I'm going to grab it and work it out. Okay? And if you need to change your roller, take your roller off, put your new one on, back on. We'll go ahead and take this thing all the way apart just for kicks. Now, there's your 2 halves. Some models, depending on the model, has these 2 shims in between it. And put them back. There is a X alignment again, and there is an X here. So if you forget which way you took it off and you didn't mark it, then you put back X goes with X. Now this X business and alignment is for balance. So I got my X and my X, so I'm good to go. I'm gonna do flat side, back, down, tap it in. Alright, get that straight. That lets me know I can get the pin in. And then I'm going to put my roll pin back in. This is kind of tedious. Getting it back in. Alright, I got it started with my pliers. Turn this punch over that I'm using and drive it just a little further. And I'm good to go. Our roller's back in. Now we go back to the press and completely put this thing back together. I guess part of this reason for you to want to take this apart is cleaning it. I'm dealing with some new stuff here. But while you got it apart, you can clean the shafts up, and just keep in mind that you don't put oil back on this, no grease or anything like that. It's supposed to stay dry. So get the dirt cleaned up and let's assemble it clean. Okay, we're out here ready to put this back together. And there's I call a missing tooth in here, and I usually put a mark right on the shaft where the missing tooth, I call it the missing tooth, right up here. It also aligns up with our X on the sheave. So I got my shaft in alignment with my X. If you have that spring spacer, some models do, some don't, put it in first. Put your spring in. Put the top roller mount in here. You want to mark this with your missing tooth. I think you can see it in there. Put your mark on it. Now we've got our mark on this, mark on the shaft, mark on this, along with the missing tooth, all in alignment. Slide your snap ring over. Put your spring compressing tool on it. Alright, alright, now, if you don't get it, the purpose of that line on the shaft is so that missing tooth will line up with this roller. Alright, yeah, I got it. Now, take my snap ring pliers, grab a hold of my snap ring, and put it back down. Alright, snapped in place, we're good. Everything's lining up like it's supposed to. Take the tool back off. Alright, we're back in here. Time to put the helix on. Alright, get our helix, we got our mark, and put it down and give it a good slide. Get our 4 screws. There's the 4th one. And there we go. One disassembled, reassembled roller style design. Like I said, use this for changing springs, changing rollers, or just a thorough cleaning of it. The tools you need, it's going to be that spring compression tool. As I said today, that particular one I don't have on the site today. It will be on there very soon. So depending on when you're watching this video, it's probably already there. If you have any questions on HT design, EBS, give me a call here at Hunter Works, 601-771-0070.